All right, Shalom. It's the brother from GMS New Orleans coming back at you with another quick lesson. As always, we give all praises, glory, infinite honors to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors once again to the elders apostles of GMS. Peace, blessings, and salutations again to the hopeful elect. All right. And this lesson here is going to be pretty quick. I was looking at a video with this guy that's on YouTube by the name of Sean Ryan. And him and another guy was up there talking about how China has the advancement of technology when it comes to war and warships. All right. And if you got a brother so that's on the page watching, let me know if you can hear let me know if you can hear the video, because I really don't want to show it for copyright purposes. So just let me know if you hear the audio of the video playing. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Hold up. It's behind the scenes.
In 1943, we built 18,000 ships. In 2023, we built 8 and retired 12 for a -4. And the U.S. accounts for only 0.1% of global shipbuilding. 0.1%.
Crazy. It's crazy. In World War II, I'll give you another stat. We commissioned over 100 aircraft carriers between 1942 and 1945. Today, an aircraft carrier costs $10 billion as a baseline. The budget estimate actually went up to $13 billion.
Jeez.
But more importantly, they take over 10 years to make, a decade to make one. Our entire involvement in World War II was 4 years long. So not only are they wildly expensive, but you can't afford, take human life out of the equation for just a second, so I'm sure we'll talk about that a bunch. You can't afford to lose one because you cannot get another one.
It scares the hell out of me, man.
It's crazy.
It just seems like we're falling behind on everything. And we'll get into this too, but just, breakfast, we were talking about all the bureaucracy and the red tape that entrepreneurs have to go through. And you would think that would be, you would think they would fast track national defense, but it sounds like it's even more of a pain in the ass than just being a regular entrepreneur. And I mean, like you just said, by the time and we'll get into this more too, but by the time the stuff even gets approved to be built, let alone being built, I mean, it's already obsolete.
So if you look at what China has done, look, they're outbuilding the Navy, the U.S. Navy, in terms of combatant ships, 3x to 1, right? We'll go through all this.
You heard that? This saying that China is outbuilding United States Navy for as warships and ships of this kind to go to war 3x to 1. All right. And that show you how World War III is going. And they gonna say, these guys gonna say it for themselves. You're gonna hear it.
It's on the Chinese fleet and the US fleet and kind of what all that looks like when we talk Saronic. But they're outbuilding on just a military capacity today, 3x to 1. But they actually have 230 times our shipbuilding capacity. They have over 5,000 commercially flagged vessels when the U.S. has less than 100.
So could you say that again?
Over 5,000 commercially flagged vessels to the U.S. having less than 100. So now, go back to the World War II example, and let me ask you this question. You have 230 times the shipbuilding capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Only a portion of that shipbuilding capacity is being used for military and defense. The rest is commercial. What do you think happens to all of that commercial capacity when the first shot's fired?
It's done.
It gets converted to defense.
Easily. Slaughtered. They're going to get slaughtered, man. All right. And that's according to the scriptures. And we're gonna get some scriptures before we get out of here, too. I got a couple scriptures lined up.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate just a little bit here, because the first thing that pops in my head, did you say 35,000 to 100? Was that the numbers
for
for shipbuilding capacity?
230 to 1.
230 to
So
1.
so the numbers are the Chinese can build, and the statistic in the industry is gross tonnage. It's kind of this weird measure of volume. The Chinese can build 23 million gross tons of ships every year. The United States can build 100,000.
And these are commercial and military.
These are commercial ships. These are large cargo containers. These are military ships. These are destroyers. These are aircraft carriers. These are everything.
So I think, when you say that, it's scary. It scares the hell out of me. At the same time, I think about, not to give our government credit, I would never do that. But I mean, China is a major exporter, right?
Mhm.
And so the U.S. is not a major exporter. So, I mean, they would need a lot more ships just for all the exporting that they do, correct? Or am I off on that?
You're not off on that. They do need more ships, but if you look at why they've been building out their capacity and how they've been doing it, they've been subsidizing it from the government, undercutting everybody on price, and doing it for a very, very strategic reason. 25 years ago, they had 5% of the world's global shipbuilding capacity.
Wow.
25 years ago. Today, they have 50%.
50%, we're at
50.
1%.
We're at 0.1%. That means if you get every single country in the world that builds ships
It
all
matches
lined up
China.
against China, you're just at parity.
Holy.
So you better rethink this problem. You better start thinking about autonomy and how.
You hear that? Basically, man, it's going to be a slaughter, man, which is according to the scriptures. They can't outbuild China when it comes to building ships. Really nothing. I was looking at some. This says China built a railroad station, all right, just in 9 hours in 2018. 9 hours to build a full railroad station, man. So there's nothing to these Moabites when it comes to warfare, which we're going to get Joel, the 3rd chapter, all right, and they did they did just what the Lord called for the nations to do in the spirit, man. They started taking those different things they would use to make agriculture and different supplies with, and started making weapons of war, man. All right. Yeah. But just in 9 hours, man, they built a whole train station, And them Moabites, man, they can get down when it comes to technology, building, warfare. They are well much advanced. Have a much advanced technology than the United States. And this guy gonna say something else about a ship, not a ship, but a plane they got, a particular plane that China has, man.
Build things differently.
But I just think about the logistics. I just saw this thing on X where China, they're talking about their drone capabilities, and they had something that looked like a beefed up C-17 or C-130.
I saw this. It was like a 737 and all the drones.
Yeah, all the doors open,
Yeah.
and the drones all carries up to 100 drones, I think I read. And so it just popped in my mind on how logistically would we get the boats where we need them, not just on our shores.
It is something we put a lot of thought and energy into. And as a company and as a country, we need to figure out, going back to the Cuba example, right? We're fighting, we could be fighting something in their backyard. It's not our backyard. How do we get it all there?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make sure we have the superiority? Let's have the deterrence in the first place. Let's get the deterrence in place so that we don't have to fight at all. That's the whole goal behind us building what.
There ain't no more deterrence. Nobody's scared no more, man. The nations, all right, are not scared of America anymore, all right? All right, so anything that they would put out there to be a deterrent to, hey, you don't want to go to war with us, hey, people not scared no more, man. I'm going to get it too. The scripture says the weak shall say that they are strong, man.
Building, how fast we're building it, and at what scale. so that you can actually have the deterrence in place. You can stop this conflict from ever happening. If China wakes up and they're like, you know what?
Let me get this scripture real fast, though. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near. All right, let them come up. All right, and this is the point. This is what China has done way back. All right, way back. All right, it says, beat your plowshares beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right, and them beating their plowshares into swords and pruning hooks into spears, they started taking the average everyday things that they would have for daily living, agricultural equipment, and they started making weapons of war. All right, they started to make, as you hear, warships. They started going into the different technologies of drone technology. All right, thermal technology. All right, and them Moabites, hey, they ain't no pushover, man. All right, they ain't no pushover. And a lot of you jakes out there that have enlisted yourself into the army, the military, the Navy, you gonna find out. You hear what this guy is saying. He said out of 100 ships that the United States have, these guys got over 30-some thousand or more. All right, and they're ready to go. That's why China, I think just about a month or two ago, they openly came out and said they're ready to go to war with America, man. All right, but let me finish this out. It says, assemble yourselves, come, all ye heathen, gather yourselves together round about, thence cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. That's all right. And it says, let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all nations, all the heathen around about. All right. It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get ye down from the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. So it's time, man. All right, it's the right time. All right, for you to go down to be judged in Yahweh Shabbat, man. All right, and China is going to be one of the main characters of the destruction of America. All right, China is going to be the main character of the demise of this place. All right, right along with the Northern Army and all his allies too. China is not playing, man. All right, Vladimir Putin and those Russians, they're not playing either. All right, we've been told you this. Let me finish this video out real fast.
We're going to win today.
Let me back it up.
That's going to be a bad day because that's the day they're actually
right there.
Oh, so that you can actually have the deterrence in place. You can stop this conflict from ever happening. If China wakes up and they're like, you know what? We're going to win today. That's going to be a bad day because that's the day they're actually going to pick the fight. So our job is to help avoid that.
How simple would it be for China to hack an entire fleet?
You really can't. We're focused on cybersecurity. We use military grade encryption. When you're operating in the military domain, you have to operate with the cybersecurity protocols of the United States government. So those are standard. Those are just, you have to have them. Otherwise, you're not being utilized in the field. Right. So that is something we take very, very seriously. We even take the cybersecurity of our company very seriously because let's be clear, like China as a nation state, they've been hacking into companies to steal secrets for years. Like that's a well-known fact. So we have to think about not just how do we protect our solution, our products in the water. And we talk about how we do that with government standards and encryption and everything else. But how do we protect the company? Because the Chinese aren't, I mean, I hate to use this term, but they're not fighting fairly. And there's no such thing as a fair fight. You know that. So they're trying to take every advantage that they can. And if that means they can hack into our company and delay our production by 6 months, they might do that, right? So we have to make sure that we're protected 360 degrees, product, company, infrastructure, people. I mean, myself and the entire leadership team were what's the word I'm looking for? We're basically banned from China. I'm blanking on the word. But they put out a term like our company and our leadership team is basically banned from China.
These are the 3 biggest lies your doctor tells
Sorry
you
about
about
that.
neuropathy pain. If you have neuropathy and suffer from tingling or burning sensations in your feet, here are 3 myths about nerve pain
Hold on,
that
right
are
there.
completely false. First myth, you need to
Congratulations.
I know. I was like, what the hell? What the hell took them so long? The Chinese have went from this little crappy littoral navy to one that has aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, and hypersonic missiles in less than 25 years.
And that's the Lord, man. That's how bad the Lord is. The Lord can take, and we just seen it. Let the weak say that I'm strong. The Lord can take I'm gonna run that back too. The Lord can take a weak, poor nation, and all of a sudden make them a superpower, or make them a badass military. All right, and that's for a reason, so that they can take part in the destruction of America. All right.
Little crappy littoral
Go
navy.
back a little bit more right there.
Banned from China.
Congratulations.
I know. I was like, what the hell? What the hell took them so long? The Chinese have went from this little crappy littoral navy to one that has aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, and hypersonic missiles in less than 25 years.
Wow.
And they build their military solutions specifically to counter the US.
Oh, that's heavy, man. And like I say, in all the nations around the world has America in their crosshairs. All right. Everybody builds their military, all right, and their equipment just to basically out achieve America's military and their equipment. And that's what China had in mind. And that's what they have done. Right along with Russia. All right. Right along with look at the old boy, they call him Rocket Man up there in Kim Jong-un up in North Korea. He has done the same thing too, man.
We are their focus.
Look.
And that's scary. So then you're like, once we kind of put all of that together, it wasn't even a question of, oh, this is cool. I'm an entrepreneur. I want to start a tech company. I want to do these things. It was like, no, we have to start this company. It's not even a question of, do I want to anymore? It's we have to, and it's our responsibility to do so.
Why do you think we are China's focus?
Well, because we're the global power, right? Anytime you're on top, people are trying to take you down. And that's just anything. That's life, that's sports. It's competition, right? And that's been happening since the beginning of human civilization. And the other thing is, look, they look at Taiwan, and they view it as their right to go and reclaim that as part of China. Like, that is fundamentally their right as a country. And the United States does not agree with that.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of it.
Yeah, it's like I said, he has a pretty good show. All right. Pretty good guests on there. They basically get into the ins and outs of the, world events, things that are actually going on. All right. People that's behind the scenes, rolling with the big wigs, exposing a lot of stuff, man. All right. Like I said, if you brothers out there and you find time, and like I said, you can definitely tune in. Brothers that have brought that guy's page out before. All right. But I'm gonna end it on this one. This is Jeremiah chapter 51:8. It says, Babylon has been. Hold up. Let me go. There I go. Excuse me. This is Jeremiah 51:8. Ooh, excuse me. This says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, For if so, she may be healed. All right. It says, we would have healed Babylon, but if she is not healed, all right, forsake her and let us go, every one into his own country. All right. For her judgment reacheth unto the heavens, and it is lifted up even to the skies. All right. It says the Lord has brought forth our righteousness. Come, let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our power. All right. It says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. All right. It says, for his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. All right. And like I say, Gog and Magog, all right, the other nations around the world are going to take part right along with NATO in destroying this whore called America, man. According to the Bible, not according to my own words, but according to Bible prophecy. All right. It's already slated, all right, to happen. All right. And when we go back up here, it says make bright the arrows. Those are talking about the nuclear missiles. All right. Those missiles, those ICBM nuclear missiles, are going to be shot from different continents. It's going to be shot from submarines, different naval ships. All right. And they're gonna all take part in destroying this whore, man. All right. It's just that simple. Yeah. This the last one right here. It says, set up the standard upon the walls. Babylon, my bad. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord has both devised and done that which he has spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. All right. And so, through the Spirit, all right, these nations are in a warlike state, in a war mind frame about coming up against America. All right, you heard the man for itself in the video. And the number one goal of China, the number one goal of these different countries is to come up against this horde. It's like he said, if you the golden, what do you say, the golden country or whatever like that. All right, yeah. When you put yourself out there as being the number one person, guess what? Everybody's gunning for you. So that's somewhat true. Really, the Most High is gunning for this whore, man, and it's going to be destroyed according to the Bible. All right, America is the whore, the whore that the Book of Revelation speaks about, man. The whore that sit upon what it is. I lost my train of thought though. That she's the whore, all right, of Revelations. But like I say, this place is going to go out with a bang, with a blaze. All right. Lost my train of thought. I wanted to say something, but it's kind of escaped me right now. But I might just end it right here. All right. First and foremost, give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Rakal Kadash. Once again, double honors to the elders apostles. Peace, blessing, and salutations again to the whole elect. Shalom.